Welcome to Together We Serve, the first ever virtual event for St. George's Center, located in Riviera Beach. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm John Favole. And a special thank you to St. Mark's Episcopal Church and School in Palm Beach Gardens for hosting this evening's program. Whether we gather in person or in this new virtual way, our goal for the St. George's Center remains the same: to improve the quality of life for the underserved in northeastern Palm Beach County. As COVID-19 struck South Florida, life for everyone changed drastically. The work underway at St. George's Center changed drastically too. And for those who live on the street or otherwise find themselves in tough financial circumstances, everyday life has gotten even harder. As many of you know, the original plan for this gathering to benefit the work of St. George's Center was a breakfast event. It was scheduled to take place right here at St. Mark's on March 13th. Sadly, though, on March 12th, the day before, the event was canceled due to COVID-19. And as a nation and as a community, we continue to struggle with this pandemic. A little later on, we'll be showing you how St. George's is handling the pandemic. And how you can further express your support for all its efforts. We have some exciting things coming up in a few moments, including a word from Bishop Peter Eaton of the Episcopal Diocese of Southeast Florida, Alex Kramer, St. George's Center Board President, the new Executive Director at St. George's, Rick Richardson, and our special guest, Kathy Izard, author of The 100-Story Home and its companion book, A Good Night for Mr. Coleman. But first, we're joined this evening by the rector of St. Mark's Episcopal Church and School, the Reverend James B. Cook. Father Cook.
Thank you, John. Yes, COVID-19 has been and continues to be a major challenge in many parts of our daily lives. And in some ways, it has altered how we approach the fulfilling of God's calling upon each of us. We're optimistic about the future, though, and so happy you've joined us this evening. For those who plan to attend our original breakfast event back in March, we especially thank you for being here. Whether you were part of a corporate sponsorship or you sponsored a table, bought tickets for friends, family, or business associates, or whether you were a single ticket holder, each of you has played an incredibly important role in supporting the work of St. George's Center. I'm looking forward to sharing this experience with you this evening, and we'll be back a little later for a few words on the future goals we have for St. George's. For now, though, allow me to offer a prayer for our time together this evening. Almighty and most merciful God, as we gather this evening, we remember before you all the poor and neglected persons whom it would be easy for us to forget: the homeless and destitute, the old and the sick, and all who have none to care for them. Thank you for the ministry of St. George's Community Center as its staff, volunteers, benefactors, and friends work day in and day out to heal those who are hungry, alone, frightened, forgotten, and broken in body or mind or spirit. Sustain St. George's, O Lord, as we seek to serve one another with the hands and feet, ears and eyes, mind and heart of Jesus, so that those men, women, and children who come to the center are honored with dignity and respect. May you continue to light the way and fill us with servant hearts. that seek always to feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, welcome the stranger, clothe the naked, tend the sick, and visit the prisoner. And may all of us serve together with joy. Amen.
Thank you, Father Cook. And now we are especially grateful to have Bishop Peter Eaton of the Episcopal Diocese of Southeast Florida with us to share his thoughts about St. George's Center and the role it plays, not just in the northeastern part of Palm Beach County, but for the greater church as well.
Kate and I are delighted to greet you as we celebrate the work of the St. George's Center and the life of the community that worships there. Of course, we cannot think of the center and not remember Hap and Dee Dee Lewis. Since its inception, Hap and Dee Dee have been the driving force behind the center and all the work that has been done to establish the center and build it into the ministry that it has become today. It is hard to believe that Hap is no longer with us, but his inspiration and commitment live on in the St. George's community. Day in and day out, year in and year out, the center has fed the hungry, and it has been a beacon of help and support to many in this part of Palm Beach County. Churches, synagogues, community clubs and associations, as well as individuals, have all found a tremendous sense of purpose at the center. And so many have been fed and cared for. A large number of congregations and groups prepare food and serve meals, and the unity that we build in this work is a huge gift to a world that is so divided. One of the aspects of the center of which Hap Lewis was so proud was the ecumenical and interfaith coalition of its leadership and participation. We have shown here at St. George's that people of goodwill can work together for the common good. I'm excited about the future of the St. George's Center as you continue to broaden your relationships with the community of those other nonprofits that serve a similar population. We're all looking forward to a wonderful event and an inspirational speaker. But as we celebrate tonight, please take a moment, as I know you will, to remember those whom the center and the congregation serve. They are the reason why we do what we do in God's name, and we must pray for them every day as we pray for the center and the community and all the work that is done. Thank you all for your support and encouragement. May God bless you as you recommit yourselves this evening to this wonderful work.
Our thanks to Bishop Eaton for his insightful and heartfelt words. And now let's go inside the center itself and visit with two people who are closely involved in its operation. Rick Richardson, the center's new executive director, and Alex Kramer, board president. Alex has been a board member at St. George's since 2018. In 2020, he became board president.
Thank you, John, and thank you all again for taking part in this new virtual venture for St. George's Center. As you can imagine, a lot of things have changed over the last several months due to the COVID-19 virus. Our doors used to be open during lunch and dinner on most days, where our guests could come inside the center for meals. Plus many other kinds of services, most of which came with a loving human touch. Since COVID, however, handshakes and hugs have given way to face masks and gloves as we carry out our mission in new, but hopefully temporary ways. In fact, let's take a look at how we operated here at St. George's Center just before the pandemic hit. This video was created for the original Together We Serve event back in March that was canceled due to the virus.
I wasn't no bad person. I was homeless, and I was praying to God that I wanted to get better. So some told me to just keep walking and praying, and a door open for you.
It was a rough and dark time in my life. Dropping out of high school, started selling drugs. From there, I started using drugs, and that took me from age 17 up to my 30s. So that's all I knew was the life of the streets, and I had a decision to make where if I continue to go down this path, where does it lead me? And it probably would have led me to be homeless.
And God, He had to come and get me from the ground. He told me to go to this church over here, and I came to St. George.
At St. George, I see a lot of the guys that maybe I was out in the streets with or that I encountered in school, so it's very touching and humbling.
The overall mission of St. George's Center is to improve the quality of life for people throughout northern Palm Beach County to meet the basic needs of food, clothing, and hygiene. St. George's serves over 2,000 meals a week to our guests. Last year we served over 112,000 meals. Monday through Friday, we serve a hot lunch and dinner. We serve a bag lunch every Saturday, and then 2 hot meals every other Saturday. So we've got a great feeding program here at St. George's.
It happens with the help of a lot of volunteers. We have approximately 41 different organizations in Palm Beach County that help us. And it consists of local churches, local synagogues, Kiwanis clubs, family groups, and organizations.
Every Tuesday, Dare to Care brings a shower van for our guests to have a warm shower. The Healthcare District of Palm Beach County and the Visiting Nurses Association provide primary care and medical services to our guests. On Fridays, we have a foot washing program where they can have their feet washed with medicated soap, followed by a clean pair of socks. Clothing is distributed just about every day. Cross Ministries also operates a mobile food pantry here once a week.
About 13, 14 years ago, I started going back to school and started serving people. So I gained that servant's heart. And here I am today, Mayor of Riviera Beach. We have a big homeless population here in Riviera Beach. Us as a city and elected officials, we're kind of looking at that issue right now. We are now trying to tackle to find out how we can best help those underserved people.
I think one of the biggest needs that we have here at the center are financial needs. As we've grown, we've got a need for additional staffing. We would like to see some form of an engagement officer or social worker. So really, the biggest is the financial needs. So Together We Serve incorporates the new vision that we have. We really need to take it a step further and start doing a better job of partnering with other organizations in the community to expand our Together We Serve outreach to those that are in need.
It's organizations like this that pays attention to what we on a daily basis do. And sometimes you may not physically be able to come and serve a plate or fix a plate, but you can give resources, you can give monetary, you can give prayer. Without organizations like this that are feeding the homeless, where would we be? I'm hoping in partnership with people like St. George that have the same heart and the same mind to bring that transformation to the people that's in need.
I'm gonna let my light shine because I know how everybody feel when people don't gave up on you. I've been grateful that they gave me a chance that nobody else didn't give me. So that was a good blessing when they hired me on. Oh, it feels wonderful. so wonderful that I could do for the people that I used to be around and sleeping on the ground with them, and it's a wonderful. Ooh, it just gives me chills when I think about that, and they tell me thank you when I give them a plate. It's a great feeling. That's my story. Yep. Amen.
It really tugs at the heartstrings to see how St. George's Center has helped change the lives of real people in real and meaningful ways. And it's not just change on the outside, but change that happens on the inside as well. And speaking of change, one that we're most proud of here at St. George's Center is the addition of our new executive director, Rick Richardson.
Well, my work life began in the early 70s. I started off teaching. From there, I went to be an elementary principal for the Archdiocese in Philadelphia. I have a master's degree from Temple University in Philadelphia, a master's degree from Wagner at New York University, and my career just took off in children, youth, and family services, which I was very passionate about. Along the path, I got very good at grantsmanship, building relationships, building collaboratives, all the things that I enjoyed doing. I arrived in West Palm Beach and St. George Center on March 5th. Literally, I was here a week before the pandemic took hold. And it became a dramatic shift in how we were going to provide services to the homeless and low-income people that we serve. St. George Center has been providing meal service to homeless, low-income people in the larger Riviera community in Palm Beach County for more than 30 years.
Actually, it was my husband. He had been a part of when the center first began. My husband, the Canon Hap Lewis, the Reverend Canon Hap Lewis, was sent there to take over the church as the deacon in charge and the center. So during that period of time, I too fell in love with the ministry and the mission of St. George's Center and have been there ever since. The pandemic has made a huge difference in the way we've always done things. We have been blessed by having Rick, our executive director, be here at this time because we have been unable to bring our people into the center to sit down and have their meals, to use the bathrooms, to wash their hands, to be a community, sitting together, talking with other people, feeling the love and the care that all the different volunteer groups give to them and that the staff gives.
When the pandemic first hit Riviera Beach, we paid a lot of attention to what the state was doing, what the county was doing, and what the CDC was recommending. We completely sterilized the whole building, and we do it on a regular basis. I created a maintenance checklist, a daily checklist for our kitchen and our dining room, our offices. And so I think we've been diligent in our effort to keep staff and volunteers safe, as well as encouraging those people in the community to be safe. The other thing we initiated was mandatory testing and temperature. So all of our volunteers are required to take COVID tests every 27 to 30 days, including myself. Altogether, we have about 45 to 50 volunteers, but since COVID struck, we have about 10 to 15 dedicated volunteers And so they're required to wear masks all the time in the facility when we're around each other.
Because of the pandemic, we now only have one meal a day, but they give a second meal for the people to take home.
One day I was thinking, how can we replace the dinner program, because we used to serve lunch and dinner, and I said, well, maybe we can give them to-go bags and hopefully they'll save it for their dinner meal.
We're making lunch bags. They get a hot meal most days, and then this is extra. We give them a couple of sandwiches, some water or a drink. Then we have a snack bag that has, like fruit and some more chips and cookies. But I also like to give them extra snacks, because some of them have nothing else. Today we have extra hand sanitizer, so they have something to wipe their hands with.
I am packaging desserts at the moment, and I picked them up on Monday and Wednesday from 2 different Publix locations. They are kind enough to donate these desserts to us. And each day with a hot meal, a dessert is given on top of their packaged hot meal, and there they are.
Well, it's been challenging for sure, but we have, been creative to find other ways to still get our guests the meals that they need, and we've had a great crew of people. Even though our volunteerism is down probably about 80%, we still have been able to get the job done with the people that we have here.
I don't think anybody should be left hungry. But just the homeless in general, it's a population that they need help, and if they can't get it together, it's not their fault. They really can't, and they're people. They need to be treated like people.
We rallied our ministry partners, our corporate partners, our community partners. Probably 35 to 40 plus organizations and ministries that support us.
As we have all maneuvered around COVID-19, I personally have had an opportunity to partner with St. George's through our food truck and to go and to see the faces of the people that are served every single day. The goals of the Christ Fellowship food truck are similar, I believe, to the goals and the mission of St. George. And I know where St. George is located, in the heart of Riviera Beach, and there's such a great need. And so it warms my heart to be able to see true faces, to learn names. And what I know is that every name is attached to a story, and every story matters to God, and that story then matters to me.
We did not come personally to St. George Center. We always are the people behind the scenes who make sandwiches and deliver food. Once every few weeks, we would set up tables over here and bring the bread and bring the materials and the ingredients to make the sandwiches. And it was a real great opportunity for our members to come together and to work. And as they were doing the work, we also had a sense of building community. And once COVID hit, our members realizing that we can no longer congregate and do it together, you could have thought, or one would have thought, that we would stop doing this. But our members said, no, we want to continue doing it. Each of us will do it alone at home, and we'll bring it over here, and from Temple Judea, it will be delivered to St. George's Center. And so that is beautiful. We are still able to feel a sense of community, of working together, even though we're socially distanced, and continue to fulfill this important mitzvah, or commandment, as we like to say.
Good Shepherd has been involved with the St. George's Center for over 25 years. It has supported the St. George's Center through financial donations, through clothing and shoe donations, through towel donations that help their foot care program, also toiletries, and most importantly, an evening meal service. Without there being any evening meals, we have decided to take the monies that we normally use as support for the evening meals. We've dedicated that to extra support for supplies and food that St. George's is now needing. We have those things delivered once a month. And through the guidance of Rick Richardson, the new manager and leader at St. George's, he's helped us to know what is needed.
People have donated all kinds of things. Restaurants actually cook meals for us. It's been phenomenal.
So this used to be our dining room. There used to be full of tables and chairs and the bar. We've since converted it to a giant prep area / dry storage. And then we've turned this into a prep area where the guys can cut and chop and do all that big time production stuff. We're doing 400 pounds of broccoli chopping at once, as opposed to maybe 20 or 30 pounds that you normally would be doing in a restaurant. We had to buy a lot of these speed racks, and we had to buy a bunch of tables just to help with the production and the flow of everything. We've been doing this since the pandemic started. And we drive the meals to St. George ourselves. And we have temperature cooled bags, so that way everything ensures its temperature as it gets there.
In addition to that, the meals, we provide support resources to homeless and low-income people.
I am the business side of these people's lives. I help them with food stamps. I also help them with their Social Security applications, their mail. They get their mail here. I assist them in referrals to different agencies, depending upon what they need, such as rent payment, housing, job, and just anything that makes them feel human. It gives me a sense of purpose. I love what I do. I love being able to make these people feel human. It's just a feeling of good. And I love it.
So the Palm Beach County Community Services Department has contracted with us, a couple of our agencies, to definitely help with mitigating the spread of the COVID virus. So we are partnering with a lot of community organizations to really go out and educate the community, to really understand the use of the mask wearing, the virus itself, what the do's and the don'ts are, and to protect themselves and others, so that we can all again work together as a team to mitigate this virus.
Cross has been around for 42 years. Our mission is to serve the hungry, but we do not do it alone. We do it through community collaborations. We're at the St. George's parking lot. As people come in and get a meal, they can also come in and get some food from us. I think we have to work together, and so I'm grateful to St. George's and the partnership we have, the fact that we can partner together to make a difference right here in Riviera Beach.
We have vegetables, the sweet corn, we have peas. The Kiwanis Club of Riviera Beach specifically has been involved with St. George's over the last 15 years. Given the current pandemic with COVID-19, we were able to secure some donations from donors that were based on the premise of helping organizations inside Riviera Beach being affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our club since August has been supporting St. George's here, and we have provided over $7,000 worth of food items. We know that the community is going through very difficult, adverse conditions. What we like about things here at St. George's is that you address the most depressed elements inside of the community. So our goal and our mission here with Kiwanis is to enhance the lives of those who are greatly in need, and we're proud to support this mission.
Well, the donors bring in clothing. So in here we have our fall and winter items, long sleeve shirts and jackets that have been donated. I've been here for little over 3 years now, and it just puts things in balance and perspective of just what's going on in the community and the needs of people. Give them some relief while they're sleeping outside, those that do in the evening, a blanket, some mosquito repellent, which we're always in need of, and hygiene items. My parents were big supporters of volunteering and giving back to the community, and so I just want to honor their wishes.
Well, we started the strategic planning process back in the fall of this year. To develop a strategic plan or expand on some of the plans and goals and missions of the center is critical to how we would like to move forward in the future. One of the things we would like to do is establish better collaborative relations, and the strategic planning process has helped us outline steps to do so. It's been phenomenal. It's challenging. It's a lot of hard work, but I'm so proud of all the people that have stepped up, particularly since I'm a newcomer. People have reached out to me, and it's phenomenal.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Rick, for giving us this detailed look at how St. George's Center continues to serve those in need, even in this new COVID-19 world. And now we are so excited to introduce our special guest this evening, author Kathy Izard. As many of you know, Kathy was supposed to appear with us live at our original Together We Serve fundraiser back in March. It's been a long time coming, Kathy, but we are so glad to have you join us this evening.
Hi, John. Thanks so much. I know I wish I could be there in person. I'm so sorry about March. This is the best we could do, so thank you all for coming and supporting St. George's Center.
It's great to have you, Kathy. So let me give our viewers some background as a way of further introduction. Kathy Izard is an award-winning author, speaker, and activist who helped bring transformation to Charlotte, North Carolina in the areas of homelessness, housing, and mental health. Kathy is the founder of Moore Place, a home for chronically homeless men and women in Charlotte, and the author of The 100-Story Home and its companion children's book, A Good Night for Mr. Coleman. Books about finding faith in yourself and something bigger. Kathy, back in 2007, you actually quit your job to work on housing for those experiencing homelessness. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, actually, the answer to that question took me almost 300 pages of a book. But the short answer is I heard a whisper. I couldn't ignore it, even though it was inconvenient and uncomfortable, and I felt completely unqualified to ask me to do what it was asking me to do. I'd been a graphic designer and a mom and a volunteer for years, but there was nothing that I had done that was really preparing me for this assignment to help people experiencing homelessness. But I was looking for a life of more meaning, a life of more purpose, and I had this restlessness inside me that was telling me that maybe the life I was living wasn't what I was supposed to be doing with my life. even though I was looking for more purpose, I didn't think working on homelessness was what I was supposed to be doing. I really thought homelessness was an unsolvable problem. But that whisper was inconvenient and uncomfortable and unexpected, and I felt unqualified, but it was insistent. So I had no choice. I finally listened. I quit my job to figure out how we could help people experiencing homelessness, and it turns out it's not unsolvable. We can do something. We can end homelessness one life at a time.
That feeling you got, that whisper, did you think at that time that it was unusual?
Well, it was very unusual at the time. I kind of felt a little crazy. And like I said, it was uncomfortable, it was unexpected. I felt completely unqualified, but at the same time, it was insistent, so I had to listen. It was definitely not easy, this work that we started. It can be very complex. Frankly, sometimes I wish I hadn't listened. But I see it all differently now. There was nothing special or chosen about me in 2007 when I heard that whisper. I think this work had been calling me for a long time. I just finally started to listen. And I believe that we all have whispers. I feel like they're trying to point us to our true north. And we just need to listen and have faith in answering. When we listen, we become connected to some pretty amazing grace in the world. And we start to believe in ourselves and something bigger, remarkable things happen. That's a lot of reasons why I wrote the book, and there's some pretty amazing stories. One of them is in this video, so let's watch that and you can see what I mean. I'd been a volunteer at our local soup kitchen for almost 10 years. At the time, I was a mom, I was a graphic designer, and this volunteer work was something I did with my 4 daughters and my husband. But in 2007, I had a very profound experience that I needed to do something more, that maybe serving soup wasn't all that I was meant to be doing with my life. I wanted to change it, but I really didn't know how. But it became this whisper that I had that I really needed to do something more for those experiencing homelessness. So I ended up quitting my job and going to work for this local homeless service agency. And I became the director of Charlotte's very first permanent supportive housing program. We were going to house men and women who'd been on the streets for years and house them directly from street to home. Once we'd housed our first 15 people, it was pretty remarkable, and some amazing transformations happened, and it started transforming us and the way we were thinking about doing this work. So we got another whisper. It was bigger. We decided that we weren't just going to house people in apartments around Charlotte, that we wanted our own building. And we envisioned that we would have 85 apartments of what's called permanent supportive housing. We would have the case managers' offices in the building and everything they needed to be successful. We were so excited about our dream, but when we added it all up, it was a pretty big price tag. It was almost $10 million. But we were confident we could do this until our dream ran into October of 2008. And as you know, huge recession, there's just no way we should have been able to raise that money in 2008. But that's one reason why I wrote the 100-Story Home, because a series of miracles started to happen that made it all possible. And I tell a lot of stories in my book, but this one is my favorite. We'd been getting a lot of attention in the Charlotte Observer. They were loving what we were doing, that we were trying to help people. And one day at work, I got this envelope. It was just a pink envelope. It looked like a Hallmark card that someone might send. And when I opened it up, a few dollars fell out. It was not signed. I didn't know who it was from, but there was a note inside that said, "May God bless and multiply this small amount." That was it. I had no idea who had sent that to us. But I just thought, wow, someone believes in our dream so much. They're sending us their last dollars and their prayers to make sure this happened. And then 2 weeks later, I got another one. A different envelope, a different amount came out, but the same type of message, "May God bless and multiply this small amount." And they kept coming. Every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, a different envelope. I had no idea who they were from. I started calling it our mailbox angel. And pretty soon it felt like everyone was listening to the same whisper, and we did it. We raised that $10 million, and in January of 2012, we opened that building. It stands today in Charlotte, called Moore Place. And even though that day when we opened, it was so miraculous, we couldn't believe that we'd done it. The miracles were just happening, and the best part of the story was just beginning, because the people were moving in. One of those people, his name was Dale Haley. Dale had some mental health challenges, and he had not been able to sleep in the shelter. So he devised his own way to handle his homelessness in Charlotte. And he had a concrete platform out by the railroad tracks, a 7-by-7 foot platform. And instead of pitching his tent on top of the platform, Dale did something pretty unusual. He dug a hole in the ground, and he lived in that 8-by-8 foot hole in the ground until the day that he moved into Moore Place. And the really amazing thing about housing Dale Haley is that it solved our Mailbox Angel story. Because what we didn't know, and what Dale couldn't tell us, was that he had a mom who loved him. And she lived in Charlotte, and she read about Moore Place in the paper. And she didn't know if Moore Place would ever get built or if it would ever help her son. But she decided, I could help somebody's son. I could send my prayers and my cards and my $5, and I could hope that someday it would help my son. And it did. Because all those cards and all those letters all those years, they were from Frances Haley. They were from Dale's mom, and they brought them together. I love that story, not only because it's so miraculous, but because it's what we all think, that maybe some little act of faith, some little whisper telling us to do something doesn't matter. But Frances's whisper did. Her act of faith mattered. Frances had no idea if all that time, all of her cards and letters, if they would help her son, but they did. It was just this small act of faith, listening to her whisper, that told her to do something that seemed unlikely. I love telling that story because it's so what we all think. We think, my money won't matter. How could Frances's $8 ever matter on a $10 million capital campaign? We think, my time won't matter. How could a graphic designer ever do anything to solve homelessness? So the next time you're watching social media or reading the newspaper or seeing something on TV and you think, someone should do something about that, ask yourself, maybe I could do something about that. And my message to you is this: trust the whisper. Whatever it is, whatever you feel is persistently, relentlessly calling to you. It may be as big as a building, or it may be just a simple, random act of kindness, like sending cards of encouragement and notes and blessings. I think each one of us are capable of so much more than we imagine. And when we weave our stories together, we can make this a much better world.
That is pretty unbelievable. That by sending all those cards and letters all those years, Frances Haley not only helped build Moore Place, but also reunited with her son. How did you solve the mystery?
Right, I know that solved the biggest mystery that we had about our mailbox angel. And when we built Moore Place, the cards and letters started coming to Moore Place instead of to the Urban Ministry Center where I worked. And we still didn't know. They just kept coming week after week, and still no address. We had no idea they would come, but just $5, $8, $10, they just kept coming even after we built the building. But one day, the executive director went to the mailbox, and she pulled out one of the envelopes, and in the corner, the mailbox angel had made a mistake, and she wrote in the corner, F. Haley for Frances Haley. And we knew that it was Dale's mom. She had been visiting him since he had been housed. He was so proud that he got a place to live. They'd reunited, and she used to come once a week and help him grocery shop. So the next time that she came to meet with Dale, we asked her, were you the one who sent them all those years? And she covered her face. She goes, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I never wanted you to know. But it solved our mystery. It solved that Frances Haley, after all those years, was our mailbox angel.
Wow, Kathy, that's an amazing mystery. So now, as St. George's Center moves forward in its work to address the needs of the homeless and the underserved, what final thoughts would you like to share with all those who serve?
My message to you is this: trust that whisper, even if it's calling you to something that you feel completely unqualified or uncomfortable. If it's insistent, I'm thinking maybe it's trying to point you to your true north. So I hope for you it's not big as a building. I hope maybe it's just coming down to the St. George's Center, maybe doing something as simple as people are already following their whispers there. They're helping feed people. They're helping encourage people. And maybe that will help lead you on a new path once you start to get in relationship either with the people working at the St. George Center or maybe someone that you're serving. I do think when we come together, when we get in relationship with people who are not like us, we start to see things differently. We start to act differently, and we start to see that things are possible. And I believe we can do things much bigger than we can imagine. So I hope you trust the whisper.
Kathy Izard, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening to share your incredibly inspiring story and for your words of encouragement for all of us here.
Thank you, and thanks to all those who joined us today to support the St. George's Center.
Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's story is truly inspiring. Learning to listen to the whisper in her own life kept her moving forward in ways that would help benefit the lives of so many others in profound ways. And so now it's time to look at how St. George's Center can also keep moving forward and what that could mean for the lives of the people it serves. Here's Father Cook once again to provide a glimpse of what that new vision looks like. Father Cook?
Listening for that whisper from God and trusting what you hear is such a wonderful metaphor Kathy offers us, and so accurately describes what the leadership at St. Mark's Church has been experiencing for nearly 2 years as we seek God's guidance on our particular role with St. George's. Since the inception of the community center and its feeding ministry in the late 1990s, St. Mark's has been a leading congregation committed to the mission and ministry of this amazing organization. Our Thursday evening meatloaf dinners were staples of the St. George meal program, and hundreds, if not thousands, of St. Mark's church and school members offered countless hours in service to those who come to the center hungry and many times alone. St. Mark's has taken leadership roles on the board, and St. Mark's has underwritten staff positions that have come and gone. Our Boy Scout troop built a community garden and basketball court, and the congregation helped refurbish offices as well as the church itself. We even had members of St. Mark's Church join St. George's to instill growth in the congregation. During this time of mutual ministry, however, our vestry has continued to wrestle with God. Is there more we could be doing to help at St. George? How do we assist in maintaining buildings, developing staff, helping the board raise money? How do we truly serve together in a way that builds St. George's for a sustainable and lasting future, where we worry less about today and dream more about tomorrow? Well, last fall, our vestry decided to respond to the whisper filling our ears and quickening our hearts. We offered to merge St. George's Church with St. Mark's Church, freeing St. George's Center to flourish on its own without being encumbered by buildings and security, insurance, and maintenance. Instead, the St. George Board can focus on the future and how to serve even better the hungry and homeless, lost and lonely, who come to the center by the hundreds each day. The vision of our vestry is that one day soon we will build for St. George's a new building with a new worship space included. This building will house not only the feeding ministry of the center, but other nonprofits in the community whose services can be accessed by the guests being fed. Can you imagine a hub of ministry and service that reaches not only the gentleman who finds shelter beneath the Blue Heron Bridge this evening, but also the family living at 33rd and Avenue O, whose children are hungry and whose parents are barely making ends meet. St. Mark's will unburden the center and its board from maintaining a building and free it to serve in new and even more expanded ways, and focusing on what it does best, feeding the hungry together with churches, synagogues, community groups, businesses, families, and individuals. We are so excited at St. Mark's to engage with St. George, and grateful that our bishop, the vestry of St. Mark's, the vestry of St. George's, and the St. George's Center Board have all agreed that this is an answer to prayer. In the coming months, you will hear more about our developing plans and how you might be able to help. Together we serve. And serving together, we will change lives. One person, one meal at a time. Thanks be to God.
Thank you, Father Cook. You have already shown your support for St. George's by joining us this evening for the Center's inaugural Together We Serve event. And many of you purchased tickets for that event, that breakfast that we were supposed to have back in March. And for that, we are truly grateful. But we want to give you an opportunity to further support and affirm the vision that you have just heard about through a call to the heart. Each and every contribution puts St. George's one step closer to realizing the dream of expanding its services to those in need in our area. On the screen, you can find several ways to donate to St. George's Center to continue its mission to serve those in need. There is a QR code on the screen that will take you to a donate page on the St. George's website. If you would prefer, you can also access the website by going to www.stgeorgescenter.org and clicking on the Donate button. By making a donation of any size tonight, you will be entered into a drawing for several appreciation gifts. The gifts include dinner for two at the Breakers on Palm Beach, and a $150 gift certificate at Cia Rico Clothing Store, also in Palm Beach. We have 3 signed copies of Kathy Izard's The 100-Story Home that will be included in the drawing as well. We know these have been challenging times for many in our community, but if you're in a position to help further the work that's happening at St. George's, we can assure you your donation will be used to further the mission and vision at St. George's. Any amount is so appreciated. And remember, we will be having a drawing for dinner at the Breakers, a Cia Rico gift card, and signed copies of The 100-Story Home. You're eligible for the drawing if you make a donation tonight.
Well, I came here because I found myself unemployed. I had nowhere to live. I had no money. I was pretty much living on the streets. I came here for some help, and I ended up volunteering here. I did some community service work here, and eventually I got a job here. I've been there ever since. Feels really good to be able to give back to people that are exactly in the same situation that I was in.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark.
I think that's a really good feeling, and I like that. I appreciate that very much.
I can't think of a wonderful place to be. It's at St. George. St. George has been great help to individuals, to single marriage, to families, and they have, all of their needs have been met. I haven't seen nobody turned away from St. George. Everybody that came to St. George for a meal, for clothes, shoes, socks, unders, and hygiene for kids, everything has been met.
My story was, I had nowhere to go. I used the drugs, but I wasn't on drugs. That part of my life was over with. I just needed a second chance, and now I'm successful. I'm working. I got my own home. I have, just from that second chance. Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone have different situations, and St. George understand that, and they are amazing people and willing to work with you and willing to get you on the right path. It's up to you.
St. George's Center has grown in its services to the homeless over the years. And even though this pandemic hit, when so many businesses were closed, St. George's Center remained open. And though we've experienced a lot of change, we see this as another building block to help build a better future for St. George's Center and those that we're blessed to serve.
We believe that the future of the St. George's Center is a dynamic one, where not only our guests receive healthy meals daily, but also given the support tools and resources that they need to help them towards a more fulfilling and self-sustaining lifestyle. This is our prayer for the people that we serve.
The guests who come for help at St. George's Center are our brothers and sisters in Christ. We at St. Mark's are committed to doing whatever we can to usher in new directions for the center and new life-changing results for those the center serves.
Well, that wraps up tonight's Together We Serve virtual event. We're so glad that you were able to join us. And remember, your continued support for St. George's Center is truly appreciated. Good night, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. תודה רבה.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
We just want to say thank you, and thank you.
Thank you